So these questions came from our Football Insider subscribers, and let's get right to it, Mary Kay. As you can imagine, there are a lot of questions about the defensive coordinator. This comes from, I don't know if I have a name. Oh, here we go. Brian from Brian from Minnesota, one of our regulars here. He's got a question about Kevin Stefanski and the attractiveness of this role. So, hey, Mary Kay, how attractive is this role if defensive coordinator candidates look at it and see Kevin on perhaps a short leash?
Yeah, I mean, it's another very, very good question. And in fact, I asked Deshaun Watson that on his, getaway day press conference, how do you feel about the stability of the coaching staff here? And he was, of course, very, very positive about it. He is very high on Kevin Stefanski. But I think it is something that a young coach has to think about because, if you're going to come here, you're going to take a risk. You're going to maybe give up other opportunities. You're going to, in some cases, move your young children here and enroll them in schools and bring your wife or your husband or whatever. I keep saying the only candidates right now are men, so I guess I can keep it to that. But you move your kids, your family, your wife here, and then you do have to think about, is this going to be a long-term proposition? So the person who takes the job is going to have to know that. I mean, it's the business. It doesn't really matter for the most part where you go, unless you're going to New England, or maybe if you're going to Pittsburgh to work under Mike Tomlin, you know that you have some really great job security there. Again, you have some great job security in New England, but in most places, on most teams, you really don't. And you never know what can happen from year to year. You can go from coach of the year to on your way out in a hurry. So I do think it's a consideration for these guys. Now, I do think it is an attractive job from the standpoint that they do have a lot of good young talent, and they have the money and the desire to add to this defense. So, they're going to go out and they're going to get a defensive end to replace Jadeveon Clowney. They really have to do that. And then they have to get a defensive tackle, a really good defensive tackle, either in free agency or in the draft or in a trade or whatnot. So I think you can feel good about some of the really, up and coming young guys that you have. You can look at this roster and you can point to JOK and Greg Newsome and Grant Delpit and Martin Emerson. Perion Winfrey needs to keep maturing, but, he is exhibiting some signs of being able to contribute in a big way inside there. So I think it's an attractive job from a talent standpoint, but from a stability standpoint, there are no guarantees almost anywhere in this NFL.
Yeah, I think that's really the gist of it. Like there's 32 of these jobs. There's 32 defensive coordinator jobs, and if you get an opportunity to take one, especially if you're a young guy, like if you're Brian Flores, you can wait. If you kind of look at this situation, you're like, I don't know if I want to be a part of this. You can wait and you'll find another job, maybe even a head coaching job someplace else. But if you're a young guy climbing the ladder and you get that opportunity, you've got to take it. I mean, look in Denver. Their defensive coordinator is getting head coaching interviews, and their head coach got fired. So you can excel in a situation where things maybe aren't ideal. You don't have to go somewhere where you're going to be there for 4 or 5 years. You just have to go there and show that you can do the job and do it well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That is the name of the game. I mean, look at Sean Desai only lasted 1 year as coordinator for the Bears before Matt Nagy got fired, and then he had to find new work. So, they took him on in Seattle, made him an associate head coach, defensive assistant, and now here he is back out on the circuit, getting a defensive coordinator opportunity with the Cleveland Browns. So I do think that, you just kind of have to dive in and you have to take these chances, knowing what the NFL is about. What have you done for me lately? How many games have you won lately? So I think they all understand and know that. I mean, if you've got 5 opportunities, sure, you can pick the best one, but it's not always like that.